And then the other part of the nervous system that I want us to recap about is the brain. So we said that the brain is the enlarged part of the spinal cord. So now it is made up of the following parts. The cerebrum, which is the largest part of your brain. This cerebrum is divided into two hemispheres by a longitudinal fissure. The two hemispheres of the cerebrum are joined together by a narrow strip, which is called what? The corpus callosum. So the cerebrum has the gray matter on the outside and the white matter on the inside. The white matter is made up of the myelinated axons. The gray matter is made up of the gray cell bodies. The functions of the cerebrum, is that the cerebrum controls voluntary actions such as speech. It controls actions such as writing, playing the piano, and so on. It houses centers for what? For vision, hearing, smelling, and taste. Last but not least, it acts as a seat of high mental functions such as intelligence, judgment, reasoning. Below the cerebrum, we have the cerebellum. The functions of the cerebellum is that it controls complex movements such as walking, cycling. It maintains posture and balance. The other part of the brain is the medulla oblongata. So the medulla oblongata is a seat of important reflex actions such as breathing, heartbeat, dilation and constriction of the blood vessels. It is at the medulla oblongata where nerves do cross over. The last function of the medulla oblongata is that it transmits nerve impulses to and from the brain. The other part of the brain is called the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is just found below the corpus callosum. So it plays a role in maintaining homeostasis by regulating your body temperature on a very hot day. It regulates the water balance. We say that it plays a role in osmoregulation. It regulates the food intake, thirst, and last but not least, it controls the functioning of what? Of this gland, which is called the pituitary what? The pituitary gland. So now what is left for us is to do some few questions. So with me here, Joey, I have Life Science Paper 2, November 2013. Let us quickly answer questions. On the central nervous system. So now, here is the diagram. Okay, question number 1 says, give labels for each of the following. So now what is important is that before you can start by answering the questions, start first by doing what? By labeling the diagram. So number 1 here, let us start first by labeling it. Number A, it's a what? It's a sensory neuron. Number B, it's a motor neuron. Number C, it's an effector, being the muscle. And then number D, it's a gap which is found between two neurons. It is called a synapse. And then number E, okay, it's a cross-section of the spinal cord or the spinal cord or the internal structure of the spinal cord. And then number F is the type of a neuron which is called a connector neuron. So let us now go to the questions. The first question says, give labels for each of the following. C, we said C, it's a what? We said C, it's an effector. And then number B, a microscopic gap is called what? A synapse. And then number E is the spinal cord. And then number F, it's an interneuron. Number G is the dorsal root. Explain one consequence for the body if A is damaged. A, we said it's a sensory neuron. What do you think would happen to your body if the sensory neuron is damaged? Remember, we said that the function of the sensory neuron is to transmit impulses from a receptor to where? To the spinal cord. So if this neuron is damaged, that simply means that no impulses will reach the spinal cord. And then, okay, 2.1.3, give 2 examples of reflex actions. The 2 examples of reflex actions could be a knee jerk or withdrawal of an arm, sneezing, salivating, coughing, blinking of an eye, and so on. 2.1.4 says, draw a label diagram of a neuron B to show its structure. So here we are required to draw the structure of a motor neuron. So this is how a motor neuron it looks like. You can bring this one. When we're asked to draw the structure of a motor neuron, it's easier if you do what? You take out what? Your whole hand. This part, your fingers will represent what? The dendrites. And then the palm of your hand will represent what? The cell body. And then from here, the arm will represent what? An axon. So now this axon is covered by what? By the myelin sheath. And then from here we do have what? The axon terminal with what? With the synaptic what? Synaptic nerves. So now mean that if we are asked to draw the structure of a neuron, the important parts will be the dendrites, the cell body, an axon covered with myelin sheath, as well as the axon terminal. And then the last question paper. Let us start first by labeling the different parts of the brain. A represents the cerebrum, and then B represents the hypothalamus, and then C represents the cerebellum, D represents the spinal cord, E represents the medulla oblongata or the medulla oblongata, and then F represents the pituitary gland. Identify the parts labeled C. So we said C is the cerebellum. E, we said it represents the medulla or the medulla oblongata. Write down the letters A to F of the parts which controls the body temperature. Write down the letter A to F of the parts which controls the body temperature. The letter of the part that controls the body temperature, it's what? It's number B, the hypothalamus. But there, please don't write the name, write the letter. The letter is B. The last question says, 2.1.3, explain how the body will be affected if the part labeled F, which is the pituitary gland, did not secrete TSH. If the pituitary gland didn't secrete TSH, this simply means that the thyroid gland will not be stimulated to secrete thyroxine. So the level of thyroxine in the blood will be very low. So now we have come to the end of our presentation. If there are any questions, could you kindly forward them to me so that I can respond to them? Thank you so much.